up, nerds and nerdettes, and we little nerdlings all? It's your buddy Big Johnny G, the Two Gun Fix-It presents Legendary Gaming. High technology, espionage, and superpowered individuals. That's what this game brings us. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to another Tabletop Takeout Tuesday. I'm your buddy Big Johnny G, and the game I want to tell you about today, give you some bullet points as to why I like this title. Again, not a full review, as I've stated in other intros to this series. Just reasons why I enjoy a particular game. Now, this game hits a lot of the marks for me. Sci-fi, adventure, superpowered individuals, and of course, I loved its predecessor. Since this is a standalone game, it doesn't matter which one of the two you actually have. But let me tell you about Specter Ops, Broken Covenant. Yeah, it's true. I really am a huge fan of the original game, the one that started it all, the previous title, Specter Ops. I believe it's also known as Tower of Babel, and I am a huge fan of the game. This is a really fun hidden movement game that can also, well, I'll get to that later. You probably already know what I'm going to say, though, if you've heard me talk about this before. This is a really fun hidden movement game, sci-fi, takes place in the future, where one person is an agent out to wreak havoc on the evil corporation who has hired hunters, the other players, to stop the agent. The agent player gets to mark everything off on their own pad that has their own map on it, where they are, when they're there, so it's very easy to follow. While the other players all have their minis on the main board, and they're going around trying to find this character. The hidden movement aspect of it is great, but it really helps the way the boards in both these games are set up. The movement areas are built up just right so that there are enough places that it's hard to get line of sight, but not impossible. So it does give a sort of nice balance to either side who's playing, but yet the feel of a slight advantage to that solo agent. Now, I mentioned there were minis in this game. Do you like to paint minis? I can't. I never spent the time to build that skill up, and it never came naturally to me. But if you enjoy the art and hobby of painting miniatures, although there are not a lot, there are 8 miniatures in the game, 4 for the hunters, well, 5 because of the dog, and 4 to represent the agents. But if you enjoy painting miniatures, these are really well done, just like the previous game. Yeah, I think you're going to have a great time painting them. One of them is a dog, as I said, and there's also a high-tech wheelchair character in there. I think that'd be a very interesting paint. So check the minis of this game out. But really, it's not just the miniatures in this game. The entire art setup of the game is well done. It's very thematic. It feels like the art for the characters and their cards look like things that would be ripped right off of a really well done, or at least a good enough artist well paid for to do the cover for. But yeah, really good sci-fi cover, like from the late 80s, early 90s. That's the way this art looks to me. And the board, just like the previous board, is not only beautifully rendered, but has just the right spot UV coating here and there, so that it captures enough of the room's light that you're playing in to highlight the difference between the lighter and more shadowy areas of the board. visually, it's perfectly done. And if you are familiar with the previous game, I would like to point out that I enjoyed the visual difference between the two maps. It's another aspect that I enjoy of this game. While the first game had a very slick, well-done, high-tech, modern warehouse for whatever the tech company Raxon is. I think they're all technologies. This one is of an older, abandoned warehouse, and the artistic difference between the two is more than obvious. Very well done. The agents and the hunters that you get to pick from the game, I really enjoyed. I liked the differences between them, but more importantly, I liked how they weren't normal, necessarily typical types that you would think of in an espionage, much less not necessarily a sci-fi, but yeah, you wouldn't really think about it. Like the high-tech wheelchair hunter, or the agent, the Raven. It's kind of like futuristic corporate tech spy Batman. Made the game even more interesting, and then the hunter with the dog. I was really impressed with. Now, another thing is you can mix and match these two games. They both stand alone, but if you have both of them, you can mix and match out the characters from them. In fact, this second game, although it doesn't update and tweak too much, really at all, from the first game, what little it does supply new character cards for the hunters in the first game. Now, the ultimate thing that I started to say in the very beginning of this video that I love about this so much, and this is one of the few games that does it in such a true fashion, it's made me coin the phrase, the fifth player shift. See, now normally this game is a 1 to 5 player game. If you play with 4 players, it's going to be 1 versus 3, 1 versus 2. You can't really play 1 versus 1. But if you add a 5th player, that extra hunter, that 4th hunter now, tracking the 5th player, the agent, well, one of those 5, is secretly working with the agent, and only that player and the agent's player know it. And I really, really enjoy that. It goes from a 1 versus all game to this 2 versus all variant of it. Very, very cool. If you're looking for a fun hidden movement game that has aspects of Trader in it, but you don't need to play with Trader aspects in it, I think it makes it a lot more fun, then check out either of the 2 Specter games. But right here, I'm particularly talking about the newer of the 2. So please, enjoy Broken Covenant. I'm your buddy Big Johnny G for Two Gun Pixel presents Legendary Gaming. And my friends, I am out of here.